Everybody, this is Doing Lines. This is the sports betting podcast where we bet on a lot of the not sports, circa the sports we also don't bet on. I'm your host, Kyle Ayers, joined as always by my co-host, whom I just saw in real life human being person, Austin Huff.
Yeah, that was wild. Honestly, I forgot that you were a real person. I thought you were just, like kind of like Clippy. You just show up on my computer screen like once a week.
Hey, it looks like you forgot to launch QuickTime.
Yeah. Hey, are you writing a resume?
Hey, it looks like you're trying to make a pun. I just pop up.
Yeah. You just do that in regular life anyway, like even without a computer screen.
Yeah. But that was fun in Chicago the last weekend. We'll get to that. We'll get to all the things. I decided I really want to make sure we explain what the podcast is more than 10 minutes into, or less than 10 minutes into it.
That's a good idea for any first-time listeners.
Yeah, we're a sports betting podcast. What we do is we come up with some pretty fake sports bets based on stuff kind of near the sports, but none of the sports bets you'd see around actual sports. So every week we have a guest on. They get 1,000 fake dollars for a very real fake charity that they can get to bet across Austin Nice Bets. We keep track of which celebrity is the best at fake betting throughout the NFL season.
Yeah, for example, last week we had WGN Morning News sports anchor Pat Tomasulo on, which is why Kyle was in Chicago. He was doing his Laugh Your Face Off event in town. And let's just say Pat had a rough week.
Yeah, Pat was able to put some money on a lot of bets across here, whether it was like bets involving Austin going to the bathroom, bets involving my group chat in fantasy, the television show Shogun. It was all over the place. And Pat is now, after having $1,000, he is now negative $2,998.75 in the hole. Mathematically, 25 cents away from the most you could lose.
Let it be known that he is our reigning champ. So that could just go to show you just how much of a gauntlet Doing Lines is. Like every week
tough.
it can and Kyle and I see it every week because we're the only ones that place our bets every single week, and we can go from riding the highest of highs to literally the lowest of fake lows.
Any given someday, that's what I say. Let's recap last week, and then we'll talk about football as a whole. But we'll recap the bets we had. One of the first bets, here's what I'll try and do. Go through the more cut and dry ones first, and then get to some of the more controversials second. Last week we had Shogun versus Shotgun. Television show Shogun won 18 Emmys. And would there be more than under 18 touchdowns out of the shotgun? It was so far over. 18. I didn't even keep counting. You can see I only counted through 6.5 games. I have to give a shout out to the NFL site because they show you the score and then let you watch just the scoring plays based on clicking on the button. Yeah. So even including there was 2 running touchdowns out of the shotgun in the Eagles game, one by the Packers and one by the Steelers. And the Titans actually had a touchdown out of the shotgun, although it was to the Packers. So
yeah, thanks for that. That was awesome.
I'm sure the Chiefs and Dolphins and Seahawks and Rams and 49ers had some, but I didn't even get to those games because we hit 19 immediately. So you and I both hit the over on that one. There was this bet here, the delays of games, over under 2.5 delays in my trip, plus the LA and Chicago football teams games. So I was flying from LA to Chicago. 1 total. 0 delays of game from the Rams or the Chargers or the Bears, and my flight to Chicago was delayed 6 minutes.
No joke.
I was not even going to count it, but it showed up officially with the red text, that says delayed.
Right. On the screen.
So I lost that one because I bet the over. Pat won that one. He was betting the under just because he was hoping I wouldn't miss the show. Here we have third time's a harm, which is all-time great bet here. Over under 1.5. Will Levis touch turnovers, but whether or not one of his turnovers or plays are memed can flip your bet.
Yes, if you won the bet, if it's memed, you lost the bet, or if you lost the bet, if it's memed, you won the bet.
So this was we both lost the bet, but were memed into victory.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not even like they're not even to the point where everything's a meme. They might have just got there, but this one, if this was week 1, this would have been memed. This was not just a meme for the.
There's literally a guy online who's like a Bengals stan account who is like, he's literally been on the hunt to make Will Levis a
You're
meme
telling
every single
me
week.
that there's a Bengals fan or player who talks shit about something so unrelated to his team's 0-3 record? I'm
Yeah,
just having a hard time believing
the
that.
college offense, and then Cliff Kingsbury comes out and just
Incredible.
absolutely destroys the Bengals. But yeah, the so this guy, he finds these memes, he was trying hard, and the first like two or three photos he posted, they were not memeable.
I didn't
But then it
count it
was
as
the
a
last
meme if
one.
someone seemed to be trying to do it. I needed a big
Yes,
account to be lazy about it.
and we're talking like a 40,000 plus retweet or
Yeah.
likes on the
Yeah.
post, and this thing had like 54,000. It was the final photo that he posted, and it was Will Levis getting sacked into the ground, and just
Yeah.
literally his face just like planted into the turf.
Like it's
That
almost
was the
like if Madden tried to recreate that sideways Mahomes throw from
yeah,
the
yeah,
Super
yeah,
Bowl,
right,
but it's like Madden
right,
on the N64 that tried to do it.
yeah, exactly. Very blocky characters. Just
Yeah.
okay.
Poor Will. This bet, bringing Rexy back, will Caleb Williams in honor of Rex Grossman, the Bears' best quarterback since 1985. Will Caleb Williams
Yeah.
over under 165 and a half yards? So far over. This is a 300-yard game. He looked pretty good, but not. He physically he looked insane in the
Yeah.
in the Bears game, but he just made some bad decisions. So
Yeah, it was the rematch of Super Bowl 41 with the
yeah,
Bears and Colts. And what the Bears needed was Caleb Williams to have that performance in Super Bowl 41 when
yeah,
those 300 yards could have really gone to use. But instead they had
definitely.
Rex Grossman.
Who Rex Grossman, who barely had more yards that whole game than Devin Hester had on the first play of the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
it was
Exactly.
98 to 165.
Right.
And then there was this bet was anyone bitch about the Chiefs over under 1.5 different people in my fantasy football group chat complaining about the Chiefs.
So all we needed was two.
It was one guy bitched.
No.
One guy
I'm
bitched. I think me having a
and
show.
there was even the pass interference non-call that they like that was meat on the
You
stick
won't believe
for
it, but that's
your
when he
group
bitched.
chat.
I think that the bitching all stopped when the Chiefs then got 3 penalties in the next 4 plays. Like
Yeah.
it was very much like just fizzled out. But it was right there because they're hey, if the Falcons get that, there's a chance they're ahead by one with 4 minutes left, and that means the Chiefs would have lost. Uh, the narrative will be that they would have lost, but what would actually happen was probably a bigot would have kicked a field goal. Uh,
Yeah,
because
that's what it would have been.
that's what the Chiefs just would have won by 2. But
Right in
only
the
one
kitchen.
guy he bitched, but then I think that the subsequent Chiefs penalty bonanza made it a little bit harder, and also me being in Chicago, seeing people in person and like the show and stuff like that, and the Sunday night game. So guys are a
Yeah,
little bit.
were you able to watch were you able to get
I
to a
I'm
TV?
not
Because you
telling. I'm
had a
not saying I
show
ended
at
the
like
show
6 p.m.
quickly, but it was a tight hour, and yeah, I missed the first quarter,
Okay.
and so that's all I missed. I was able
That's
to
what
walk down the
that's
street.
Look, kudos to you for doing what you do, because I feel like most of your sets are probably done on Fridays, Saturdays, and
Hmm.
Sundays
Hmm.
when you've got sporting events on, especially in the fall. We talked to Joey Molinaro in week 2 of this
Hmm.
season, and he's a comedian, he tours, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not touring this fall," and I was like, and he cited family reasons because he's got a young kid at home,
Yeah.
or young, I believe 2 kids, or second on the way, and I was like, "Is that really the case, Joey, or do you just want to be home for football season?"
Yeah.
Which I feel like is the case,
Well, my
right?
whole life, the Chiefs were basically the best team that would play at noon. Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense. That
yeah.
makes perfect sense, right? Like the Chiefs would be like the national noon game a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they were
Now
so
now they're
now
ever they're only ever on prime time.
the only time they play at noon the whole fucking season, I think, is against the fucking Texans of all teams, which is like the game that
That
looks
should
good
be a
because
matchup game, yeah.
what keeps happening is when they play NFC teams, Fox wants to throw them on. Do you know what I mean? They're like, oh
Mhm.
my god, we got a
Right.
chance at the Chiefs, and
Yep.
then the Thursday night kickoff doesn't count as a Thursday night game. The stupid Christmas stuff. Give
Yeah.
Christmas to the NBA and their funny cursive jerseys. Relax.
I know.
And I don't
I
know.
don't want to watch. I want a break from the NFL on my Christmas. I want that to be
Yeah.
an NBA
When I
day as a
moved to
fan.
Los Angeles, it was like Mahomes was just starting, but that whole first season, I was just watching Mahomes with coffee. Do you know what I mean? 10 a.m. is a
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful thing. College football, he starts at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
time zones
Right.
here. The Mizzou's already playing.
Yeah. How long until the NFL starts taking over the 4th of July
I know.
and starts making that? It starts stealing that
They'll
from
just do a
baseball.
Super Bowl rematch, like exhibition game, but if you don't play 3 quarters, you're suspended 2 games or something like that.
They're going to be like, you know what? Labor Day is now our holiday too, and Memorial Day. We're taking that day over.
They
They're
are
just going
sneaking towards Labor Day because now it was 3 days after Labor Day, the NFL season starts now on that
Yeah.
Thursday. And you know what it is? Teams look bad. Like the first week, the Chiefs and the Ravens looked like crap. It was like a backyard football game the whole time. It was a fun game score-wise, but you're just like, what's happening? All the good plays were just a fast guy or, Lamar backyard football stuff.
And the NFLPA has like peeled back on training camp and all of that. And now you're getting all these guys injured within the first 4 weeks. I don't think there's a superstar. Well, Patrick Mahomes is the only superstar that's healthy still. Every other superstar,
and he might not even be. He got hurt taking a knee at the end of the game.
He rolled his like ankle there at the end.
That turf is so upsetting. The amount of guys who are just walking and then you see him gimping around after the turf is so. We got to get our last bet. Best bet of the week. This one is called. What was this one even called? Austin Hoops. Or
it was no, it was I've got it right here. It's
it has poops or touchdowns, but I know that's not the name of it. That's just
the name of the bet was just Giants Browns.
Giants Browns, that's right. Will Austin have more Giant Browns, or will there be more touchdowns in the Giants Browns game from Thursday to Sunday night, folks? This is
shocker.
This is the only time it's been legal to cook the books. And I would say Austin only pooped from Thursday to Sunday night 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times, you guys. That's 4 days and 3 poops in 4 days. And that was even my poop on Sunday didn't come until late Sunday night, like an hour before midnight.
You were in the car a lot. But that hasn't stopped your kids, I assume, at some point.
No, they pooped way more than I did. Trust me, I changed the diapers. Yeah.
So I lost that one and Pat lost that one. Those were both our locks for the week, which if you don't know, is triple the losses.
I was exempt from betting on it. And I ate a lot of Raisin Bran that over the weekend. Like
I think that's St. Louis's premier food.
I knew there was going to be at least like 4 or more touchdowns in Giants Browns. And so I tried to get up to at least 4 poops, and I could not do
You're really putting the ass in potassium in an attempt to help hit this over. And
you know what's funny is I've pooped 3 times since Sunday night. So twice yesterday, once today.
I think this is what happens when you get day games.
right.
So how we ended up last week, we said Pat lost almost nearly $3,000. Austin, I lost $600, and you lost $200.
Okay,
so you gained $400 on me.
There we go. Hey, don't let me get hot, Kyle. Do not let me get hot.
You are down to negative $400, and I'm down to $2,700 positive. So the lead has been cut in by 10%, but we got a good week of games and a good week of bets and an incredible guest this week that I think we need to get in here and get talking to. Time for some bets. Let's get into it.
The ultimate remember this guy when thinking of old random NFL players from the 2000s. Former Tennessee Titans wide receiver Drew Bennett is joining us. Kyle, I think we are making Doing Lines history right now because for the first time in this podcast, 3 seasons of airing, this is our first former NFL player guest. And
we did have Calvin Ridley on that one episode. Oh, former.
Right. We are actually the podcast that got Calvin Ridley suspended for a year.
It was Austin's long con to get him on the Titans.
Look, that's what I said. I said, look, if he's playing for the Jaguars, I'm going to do everything in my power to get him suspended. And it worked. But no, this guy's a former NFL player, so Roger Goodell has no standing to suspend him. This guy was a fantasy stud back in the day. And I mean that in two ways, because he was an 8-year vet with racked up over 4,400 yards in his career. 28 career touchdowns, thus the fantasy stud aspect in that realm. But he was also a fantasy stud for everyone's wives and girlfriends, because he might be one of the best looking former Titans of all time. He is Drew Bennett. Drew, thank you for joining us.
That's a low bar. Best looking Titans. I had some ugly teammates, but I appreciate
it. That's what people don't say, is how ugly the Titans have been. Right. Although I've had a take with a buddy of mine that the Tennessee Titans, yes, very ugly team, both on the field and off. But the fact that whenever this team signs a backup quarterback, the backup quarterbacks for the Titans have always been the best looking human beings ever. And I like it blows my mind. Like Charlie Whitehurst, even like the Matt Hasselbeck days. Jake Locker was a backup when he first started. Right now they've got Mason Rudolph as their backup, and he's a very good looking dude. And you yourself played with a backup who eventually became the starter for a few weeks because McNair would go down. Billy Volek, very good looking dude.
Handsome little fella. Absolutely.
Austin, you're having this conversation enough to be arguing about it with someone?
I know. I'm just saying. I mean, it's like the Titans backup quarterbacks, for whatever reason, always good looking dudes. And Drew, correct me if I'm wrong, but because you played quarterback in college, you were the emergency quarterback on some teams, right?
I was. They would prep me for the entire week as the third QB by letting me take 2 snaps in pregame. Yeah. It's like, hey, come down real quick. I'd take my 2 snaps, hand them to Eddie George, and then they're like, all right. I'm like, that's really all you're going to give me, just in case I have to play a quarter.
Yeah, right. Did it ever get to the point where did you ever have to take a snap at quarterback?
No, but McNair was out, and I think it was Neil O'Donnell at the time.
Yeah. Yes, another good-looking backup.
Yeah, and he had gotten hurt on a play and ended up calling a timeout versus having me go take a snap, and I was kind of like, I want one play in the book. So anyway. No, never.
Guys, I hope I have more value than a timeout.
Not really.
I think that if I could see why they just have you. If Eddie George was my running back, I would only have my emergency quarterback practice giving it to him. Like if it got to the emergency quarterback job, I think honestly, the starting quarterback just needs to give it to him.
Yeah, just turn around and give the ball to 27.
That was the era of the Titans anyway, so that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Drew, listen, man, we want to thank you so much for joining us on this. This is probably the dumbest podcast or interview you will ever do.
Bold statement.
Yeah.
Through some stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, look, we do this for a fake good cause. Obviously, we're going to give you $1,000 of fake cash to bet amongst fake NFL bets that Kyle and I have come up with. But since we are all people of means, and I know I'm kind of preaching to the choir here on this one, because you did play in the NFL, those game checks, pretty solid. Since we are people of means, we like to in turn donate our fake winnings back to fake good causes. So is there a fake charity that you will be playing for this week?
Yes, it's pretty well known. A lot of people probably heard of it. It's Angels Ankles. Most people don't know that 37% of exotic dancers have high ankle sprains during their career. And ankle braces are not covered. It's kind of baloney, right? You're expected to get back to work fast, and you have to go out of pocket. So our group, we're in 17 cities now. We raise money for, ankle braces to help those ladies get back to the stage.
It's honestly, it's a beautiful cause. Now, are these ankle braces court ordered?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So it's like a dual cause.
We have 3 different bedazzled styles now. Like we're really, we're broadening out. And, it's changing things, right? Because it's, when it's just white and laced up, it's super awkward. But when you get a little, mojo to it, it makes them feel a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful. No. I'm picturing them all getting hurt because they're dancing on AstroTurf. So I'm thinking that do they play at the Meadowlands is where I'm wondering if
Well, and Drew, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not the only former Titan who's big on this cause. I believe Pac-Man Jones is also big
He
on.
actually started it. So he came to me. We were in Vegas, and his favorite dancer went out with an injury, and he's like, "Dog, we gotta help them. We gotta help them." So that was the start of this whole beautiful charity.
I think he might actually save money by starting a nonprofit for the cause. He's one of the few people that this might reel it in a little bit.
That's right.
That Pac-Man, he's always so charitable with his time and his money. That's great. No, I love that. So okay, so Angels Ankles is who we are playing for, the fake charity that we are playing for this week.
It does sound like you just want Mike Trout to stop getting hurt.
Yeah, right.
Please, at least just trade him somewhere. We have three. I have three great bets. Austin has three bets, and what we'll do is we'll line up all six of them for you, and then you can allocate your money however you want. Anything is fair game. If you have extra fake cash lying around, you're happy to use it. If you want to parlay anything, you're happy to use it. Here's my three. My first one is actually a response to the Commanders-Bengals game last night. Commanders-Bengals game was the first game in history to have 0 turnovers or punts. They said in like modern NFL, so since 1940, I think was the number they threw up. 0 turnovers and 0 punts in the whole game, which is crazy for how much shit the Bengals defense talks. And to have 0 turnovers and 0 punts against a high school offense. Here's my bet for this week. How many games have 0 turnovers or punts out of this week? So there's the, was it 16 games this week? How many games have 0 turnovers or 0 punts in them? And if there's a turnover on a punt, that game counts towards the total.
Okay. So are you giving me an over-under, or am I?
Over-under is 2.5.
All right.
My next one here, since we have a former UCLA Bruin in the house,
we don't talk about that right now.
They'll get there. At least they look good. They look good.
Look, started out strong against LSU, right? That's a win.
It was, I had a bunch of people that flew out there, and I was like worried that it was 28-0 in the first quarter. At least the game was enjoyable. That's exactly right. You got a good half, you got, some excitement. So I'm with you.
Okay.
There's no shame in losing to Indiana. They have nothing there.
Oh, I know. Well, and I played with Deshaun Foster, who's now the head coach. And so we actually went back, and I was the honorary captain last weekend before they played Indiana. That's not a great
nice.
For. So
because they dropped the Indiana game, right?
Yeah.
Just barely.
Yeah.
35-7 or something.
Yeah. Look, it's that classic Big Ten rivalry is what it is.
It goes back week. Look, what does Indiana have going on? You can only have so many statues of chairs flying across a basketball court in your weird little town in the middle of the worst state. Oh, hey, don't worry. Sometimes the combine is near. Okay, there's not a lot going on in Indiana. Here's my UCLA bet. Will there be more scoring plays and turnovers by UCLA, or scoring plays and turnovers by UCLA alumni in the NFL?
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
All right.
I can give you a quick rundown of the skill players who went to UCLA. So I would say causing or having a turnover will count. So there's a lot of like defensive linemen and that. But if we're going skill players, Mercedes Lewis, who is still in the NFL.
I think he was what he was in.
He got drafted in between LeBron and Dwayne Wade.
Right. Yeah. Drew, what your first year in the league was what, like 2002, 2003?
2001. And
2001.
I missed him by 1 year at UCLA. I've been out 15 years. He was 4 years behind me, and he's still playing.
It is crazy. Yeah. Here's Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the backup at the Browns. I back up with an asterisk. We may be counting down to the return of him. He has some good games when he was playing also.
Yeah, actually, he did better than I expected. Kind of transitioning from, I didn't think he was amazing at UCLA, so he had a pretty good little show at the NFL level.
And then my favorite UCLA alumni currently in the NFL, Crocky J's father himself, Carson Steele, is one of these guys who just was good in college, and then everyone's like, running back is such a weird position, but maybe he scores or has a turnover. He's done the turnover part of it. Let me look here at other Kyle Phillips. Jake Bobo, Britton Brown. Oh, the Seahawks have a lot of UCLA guys on their team as well. So we're looking at more scoring plays and turnovers by UCLA, the team, versus Oregon.
Who does UCLA play this week?
Oregon.
God.
Who's coached by some guy that my sister knew in college. This is how young the coach is. It's just, how are you coaching? I hear they have some resources there too, versus UCLA alumni in the NFL. And then my third bet, I'm calling Grotesque Kelsey. And I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so our team is primarily based on off the field discussion. And we play a little bit of football, but mostly we get yelled at because of a referee. Travis Kelce is in a new show coming out on Hulu called Grotesque. And it premieres tomorrow, which is Wednesday the 25th. Look, if people are wondering why he's off to a slow start, do you hear what I'm saying about him right now? When did he even have time to make a television show? I saw where he was every day for the whole offseason against my will. I knew where this man was against my will
TikTok,
every day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what Nobu they filmed this television show at, but he was apparently there making a horror and to his credit, the director of the show said he took private acting classes. He showed up and he's like, coach me, like help me be better. I don't, it seems like he cares. I'm not knocking him for looking out for what to do next. Show's called Grotesque. This bet is called Grotesque Kelsey. Will there be a higher Rotten Tomatoes score for the premiere episode of Grotesque on Hulu or yards for Travis in this game against the Chargers? I will say this. This man is the bane of the Chargers' existence.
Yeah.
You know how in division, there will be guys, and Kelsey is, a Hall of Famer in his own right, but in the division, there'll be people who are like, I need this man. I hate this man more than you can. I've seen Travis Kelce walk off the Chargers twice at games I went to since I lived here.
Yeah.
They hate this man. And Darwin James is out.
Yeah. Yeah. He's suspended.
And that is at least he could injure Travis if he's playing. But so there's a lot of stuff that's lining up to if Travis decides this is one of the games he cares about. Maybe he could do it. So higher Rotten Tomatoes score for Grotesque on Hulu or yards for Travis against the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay. Drew, was there a guy for you guys back in the day that in division that was just your arch nemesis? The guy that on offense or defense?
Like you think about it like this. If he played every game against your team, he'd be a Hall of Famer. There's always like these sorts of guys.
Yeah.
We just played against Peyton Manning twice a year. So
if he sticks with it.
I mean, I loved him as a player. God, did I hate him as a competitor.
Yeah.
But him and then Bob Sanders, remember the safety that played for Indianapolis?
Yes.
Stay healthy.
Yes.
That dude
he stayed healthy during against the Titans.
Yeah, he was that's the thing. He'd miss 5 weeks, come back for us, and have 14 tackles.
So you guys got him with fresh legs.
That's
it's not
right.
only that he wasn't.
That's the reason we still remember
legs.
Bob Sanders is the 5 games that he played against the Titans. The only games he was healthy for.
And the only season that he was healthy and played every game, they won the Super Bowl.
That is true.
Right.
It's literally the only season he played every game in the Super Bowl. He was that ridiculous.
And I think people kind of forget just because of the Ed Reed and Polamalu of them all at the same sort of time. These are like 3 of the 7 or 8 best safeties ever are all just feigning off injuries together for whole careers.
And that's it. I mean, if Bob stayed healthy, he would have been a household name, right? I mean, he was well known back then, but he would have been the savage.
Yeah. Well, and the only MVP ever crowned to a Tennessee Titan was a co-MVP shared with Peyton Manning. So right. even the one claim to fame, Steve McNair's MVP award is a co-MVP. Yeah.
And I as an impartial fan, it was BS. It was BS. It should have just been McNair. But
yeah, it's the Step Brothers meme, just Steve McNair and Peyton Manning. All right, my 3 bets. We're going this bet in honor of our guest is called Just How They Drew It Up. Obviously, Drew, you were a quarterback in college at UCLA and then converted to wide receiver. Just that's what they usually do with the white quarterbacks. They say he'd probably be better as a quarterback.
Unbridled athleticism.
You're like, you know what? Yeah, you're slow and awkwardly tall. You should You should move.
Yeah. So I've got a bet. Does a quarterback catch a pass this week? Now, obviously the odds are not, typically in the favor of a quarterback getting a pass play drawn up to them. So I am heavily loading this towards yes. If you vote yes, you get, in honor of your number in the pros, 8/3 of the payout, which equates to a 2.6 payout. So if you take yes and you win and it hits, you get a 2.6 payout on that bet.
100 to win 260. I like it. All right.
Yeah, there you go. There he is.
No,
Man,
the easier way to put it is 8/3.
I love when we have 8/3 of the payout and you get
If you bet fake for 8/3, you get 8/3 to 37 stripper percents. And we're like, okay, yeah, Austin, send this clip to someone to ask him to do it.
Kyle, I love when we have actual bettors on this podcast because they just know how to talk.
It's just people who went to college and did math.
Watching you work yourself into math was so disappointing. I mean, that really was like, you've never looked at a gambling sheet.
Because your number was this, I put a slash through it and then reduced the fraction.
8/3.
Sounds like you're naming a bank.
All right. And Drew's like, let me just say this in betting terms so people listening understand what we're talking about.
I like that.
Yeah. So that's honestly just how we drew it up. My next bet, I had to throw in a Titans bet in there in honor of Drew as well. And just because.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Fair. Damn, that's good. This bet is called Will Levis or Won't Levis. And the Titans obviously play Monday night against the Miami Dolphins in the one Monday night game that everyone will not be watching. That's why whenever the Titans play on Monday nights, the ESPN's always like, can we get one more Monday night game just so we can pull in some ratings?
They run SportsCenter on the cable networks.
Can we get the SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt on across this just so we get some eyes?
We need some ratings. So in honor of this, now, Drew, we kicked off a bet last week where it was whether or not Will Levis had he was averaging about 2 turnovers a game. So we set the over-under 1.5 turnovers for Will Levis. Does he go over-under? But we did put a stipulation in there where you either won or lost the bet based off of if you were losing the bet, you would automatically win it if something that Will Levis did was memed on the internet. And sure enough, for a third straight week, something he did was memed on the internet, and thus allowing people to win or lose that bet. It was basically the opposite of what happened. So this bet is simply, does he have a higher passer rating than any Dolphins passer? So if it's, I think Skylar Thompson is slated to start right now with all the injuries they have. More Dolphins injuries than the Cove. Am I right, folks? Don't tell Hayden Panettiere that joke.
She subscribes.
She does. She's a heavy listener to Doing Lines. If Skylar Thompson or like if a wide receiver throws a pass, the passer rating, Will Levis will have to beat out all Dolphins passers.
So if Jalen Waddle throws one incomplete pass, this could be a win.
Yes. Well, yeah, and whoever the quarterback is, he also has to beat out the Dolphins passer. He just has to. Will Levis basically has to be the highest rated passer in that game. However, the stipulation still holds true. If he does something that is memed on the internet, you automatically win or you automatically lose. Okay.
So if you bet on Will Levis to do good, and he gets memed, you lose.
Yes. Yeah. Or if you bet on Will Levis to do good and he isn't the highest rated passer, you automatically win if he gets memed.
Okay.
It's basically the reverse of what your
Mean Girls.
Yeah. Mean Girls. There we go. And my final bet, it's called Return of the Mac. Mac Jones made an appearance on Monday night against for the reeling Jaguars. Honestly, I appreciate the Jaguars so much. Not only are they another 0-3 AFC South team, but they're an 0-3 AFC South team with a quarterback that is comically bad. Only it's more comical than Will Levis, in my opinion, because he costs $270 million to be that bad. So we saw Mac Jones.
He won a game last Thanksgiving.
Yeah. No,
you remember the holiday it almost is?
Yeah, right. So Doug Peterson said after the game that no one's job is safe, and that includes Trevor Lawrence. So basically, this one is simple. Will we see the return of the Mac? Will Mac Jones make an appearance in this game? Yes or no? Now, there is a stipulation.
Of course, there better be.
The song Return of the Mac, the UK album version is 4 minutes and 34 seconds long. The US album version, the US album version is 7 minutes and 20 seconds long. So if the time of possession of a Mac Jones led Jaguars offense is between 434 and 720, you get Mac Jones's number 10 times the payout on this bet.
Love it.
If you bet yes.
If you bet yes. If you bet yes. If you bet no, obviously no.
Can I throw another caveat on here?
Yeah, go right ahead.
If Mac Jones has more passes than Khalil Mack has sacks, can we double it?
Yep, we'll double it. Add it to the list. If Mac Jones has more completed passes, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
But once again, that all contingent is on the yes bet.
Yes, it's all contingent on
Doug Peterson's quote.
That one's so engaging. We have to take a little bit of money on that. That's
yeah.
I like Doug Peterson saying no one's job is safe, only literally referring to himself.
It's funny coming from a guy whose job is the least safe of anyone.
It's literally like he's in a hot dog suit looking around saying we're all looking for the guy who did this.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure a guy you just paid $270 is not going anywhere.
Yeah, I think the owner will have something to say about the $270 million face of the franchise sitting down for the backup from the Patriots.
Didn't Everbank literally just change the name of the stadium for week one they called it Trevor Bank Stadium?
And
they're going to change it to, Mactually.
All right, Drew, you've got $1,000 of fake cash to divvy up however you would like. We just ask that you do bet on two, and one of the bets has to be your lock of the week, which is double the winnings and triple the losses.
All right, let me look through this. So the punts, UCLA game, QB catch a pass. All right, so the last one, let's start with the last one because I like that. So we're going to do $100 on the yes, on the 430 to 714, because that's the payout's just too big to not take advantage of that.
Sure. Yeah.
Now you know my full betting style. I'm like, I can totally hit the 7-leg parlay.
Right.
Sense. Look how easy this is. I just
see, and that's the thing about this podcast is you have to explain these fake bets to your wife too. It's like, listen, hon, if I just drop $100, on this one, like the payday is
coming around to my charity too. She was really against it for a while. Now she's seen some of the suffering that goes on. So
it just looks like a bunch of giraffes reaching low water.
We tried to push the industry to lower shoes, but they wouldn't do it. So that's why we focus on the ankles. So let's see. Yeah, so I'm taking 100 on the Mac Jones. I want 400 on the over teams with no punts and no turnovers.
Okay.
So you said 2.5, right?
Yeah. So, and if there's a turnover on a punt, that will count towards your over as well.
Yes. All right. And then let's see the grotesque. What was your second one? The UCLA
scoring plays and turnovers versus UCLA alumni scoring plays and turnovers.
That's right.
And getting a turnover or committing it counts in the NFL.
I will take the UCLA alumni for 200.
Yeah, you're lucky Will Levis didn't go to UCLA.
The line would have shifted.
Yeah.
All right. And then
how much are you putting on that?
200.
200.
So I got 300 left. So let's do 100 on the QB catching a pass. Because I've got to go for that awesome math that Austin decided to.
I like to avoid the ones.
It's that 8/3.
When Austin does really complicated ones, I like when everyone avoids it. So he just did all of this thinking of this entire thing out, and then everyone's like, "Okay."
Listen, when you get 8/3 payout, you got to take it. That's the rule.
Hey, listen, you know your audience. Well done. All right, and then we'll do the grotesque higher than What was the grotesque
yards for
Rotten
Travis
Tomatoes?
or Rotten Tomatoes
Actually, no,
critics
we'll
score?
take Kelsey because I think you're right. I think that he is actually due for a big game because everyone's wondering what happened to Kelsey. So the rest of my money, what's that? 300 or 200?
200.
200 on Kelsey over. So he's got to catch 38 yards worth of for the Rotten Tomato score.
All right, Kyle, you got all the cash totals on that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, listen,
this is going to be the most unique football watching weekend of my life.
Yeah, right. You're gonna be invested now. You're gonna be like it's funny how like invested you get. Like Kyle was texting me over the weekend, like, "Hey, have you pooped yet, man?" Because we had a bet last week for Giants Browns whether or not what would be more touchdowns in Giants Browns or number of Giant Browns that I took over the weekend from Thursday to Sunday.
And I just texted the girls that are on the distribution list for Angels Ankles.
Yeah.
So they're going to be watching too.
Yeah, they were like, "Thanks for gambling with it." Like those game shows where you're just like, can't you just give the money to charity?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we need to make Nick Kroll answer trivia.
All right, Drew, last question before we get you out of here. Is there someone that you would like to challenge on doing lines? Publicly state that you feel like you could beat in this dumb game.
Ooh. I mean, the person that would probably talk the most trash, I mean, would either be Billy Volek, right? I mean, he and I have kind of a contentious texting exchange on talking trash, but I'm kind of thinking like somebody from USC, right?
Ooh.
Like, I'm wondering if there's a USC Trojan that, you know, you could put us up, like put him on USC UCLA week, and then you could compare and contrast total scores on USC, like, you know, game day week.
Did you play with any I mean, well, obviously Fisher's a USC guy and he was your head coach, but was there any are there any USC guys that you played with?
I mean, there were a couple.
You didn't overlap with Lendale, did you?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Lendale White and then Dominic Bird, who was a tight end. I played with him in St. Louis, but not guys that would be fun to banter with on, you know, this. I'm trying to think. USC. No, not that I can think of. So maybe
you're saying that all USC guys are lame, is what you're saying.
Of course, duh. You know what I mean? The only good person there is his doctor. That's it. It's the only person I like now.
It's Kyle's doctor.
They made Kyle funny.
Like, I think he freelances. I doubt surgeons call it that.
Okay.
They have filling out a 1099 EZ form.
Yeah. All right, so you're officially putting the challenge out to your former
or Justin McCarron, because Justin was my year at the Titans, and he and I still talk back and forth a little bit. So I wouldn't be opposed to getting on and talking trash after the results are going to be made public. So.
We had we tried getting Pete Carroll on, but he actually gave us money to change the bets ahead of time.
Yeah. You know, a UCLA guy loves that show.
He's a big supporter of Angels Ankles.
I was like, can we run this?
He does it direct. He doesn't donate to us. He says he supports them in other ways. But
well, his recruits are really, he would take his recruits to support Angels Ankles.
I told Austin he was running a joke into the ground, and Pete was like, we'll pass it.
All right. So Billy Volek, Justin McCarron, you have officially been challenged by Drew Bennett. Drew, listen, man, thank you for taking the time to do this, man. And best of luck on your bets. And we hope that we can earn some fake money for Angels Ankles.
You got it, boys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, dude. What another huge shout out to Drew. That was so fun. I mean, it's so
cool.
Funny.
Drew is literally, I mean, he was one of my favorite Titans growing up.
Yeah.
Just watching him play because he was really good. And like, there's literally, if you go on YouTube right now, there's like an 8 or 9 minute montage of all of his touchdowns combined. Like, he was a legit impact player.
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean, a 1,400 yard, 11 touchdown season is something that this, 1% of wide receivers who ever make the NFL get that.
Exactly. And he wasn't even a wide receiver in college. Like, he came into the league as like a quarterback that was shifted to wide receiver.
I was looking up some of his traits. It said here, like a sneaky athletic lunch pail guy, first in, last out, real like blue collar sort of wide receiver. It's weird. In 2000, they called him a Julian Edelman type.
Literally, just every white like buzzword like has been used to describe his play. But no, he's awesome and he's legitimately funny.
Yeah.
Like playing for Angels Ankles
Yeah.
might be one of the best fake charities that we've had on this podcast.
At
And
UCLA,
we've had some
it
damn
says
good ones.
they had that at UCLA. It was called On Hell's Ancles.
Los Angeles Ankles.
The Los Angeles Ankles of Ankelheim. Let's get our bets out here and let everyone go. And I say let everyone go like they can't stop listening.
No, yeah, you guys, they're captured. We literally have them tied up until the end of this podcast.
So here's what I'm doing. I'm locking $200 locked on Kelsey's yardage. And this is me just assuming that the show is going to suck as well. I don't even know what it's about. It might be awesome. And watch the show get 100%, and I'm like, uh-oh. But I'm putting $200 on Kelsey's yardage, $200 on UCLA having more scoring plays and turnovers than their alumni. Look, Carson Steele's due to score. And then Commanders, I'm going 250 on the under on the games with no turnovers or punts. I'm going $150 on the yes for a quarterback catching a pass. I don't know why. It just seems fun. You got to bet on
it's the 8/3 payout.
I'm betting $200 on no on Levis having a higher quarterback rating, but then he might meme me into a win. And then I am doing $100 on yes for Mac Jones. I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah, I think you have to take the yes. We're all three going to take the yes because I'm also going to take the yes on the Mac Jones. You have to just for the chance of the payout.
You have to. What are you betting on that one?
If he plays, I'm going to put $100 on that one for the yes. Because if the payout, you get 10 times payout. Look, that's worth.
You'll make more than Mac Jones.
Yeah, right. And not as much as Trevor Lawrence, though.
Mac Jones sounds like a makeup company.
Mac Jones does. I think my wife bought some at Sephora just the other week. Yeah. Travis Kelce, I'm going to take the yards, $100 on that. Same thing with you. Like Travis Kelce's due. You know how like they always show that shot of Brady on the sidelines right before he made the comeback against the Falcons in the Super Bowl.
I think that there's also something to. I would be more worried if I was other teams because all they're saying is why are the Chiefs playing so bad?
And that's the thing.
Where's Travis? What's Mahomes doing? It's like, well, they haven't lost.
You saw the video of Travis Kelce sitting on the sidelines, just looking dumb as hell.
Maybe he saw a picture of his haircut.
Yeah, right. So I feel like that's going to be the shot that we're going to be like, we're going to look back to in history of like, oh, this was the moment.
The turning
point. If you see
point.
Travis Kelce make this face on the sideline, just wait until next week because he's going to go off.
It's when he realized he got the haircut called Simple Jack.
What a reference. I'm going with $200 on UCLA scoring plays and turnovers. I think combined scoring plays and turnovers against Oregon.
I could see 3 field goals, a touchdown, 2 turnovers, and we really quickly get to 6 there.
And I don't think there's that many UCLA players. No offense to our guy Drew, but
no, it's a big Crocky J is honestly their best point. They have a lot. There could be the thing is there's a lot of linebackers. A lot of defensive players. There's like 80 players in the NFL right now. Not 80, but like 35. So turnovers is the chance for the alumni here. Is picks or caused fumbles and things like that.
Yeah, because if it's a forced fumble or recovered fumble.
Or they fumble.
Yeah. Okay.
So if some guy strips Carson Steele, there could be 2 on one play.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go over under. I'm gonna take the under on the 2.5 games with 0 punts or turnovers. I'm putting $200 on that, and that is my lock. I do not think I think there's going to be a punt or turnover in
pretty much everything.
Probably every game. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to take. I already did my Mac Jones bet. $100. Yes. Won't Levis? I'm going to say yes. Will Levis will have the highest passer rating in that game? I'm going to put $300 on that. Why? Because I'm a Titans fan and I like to be hurt. As simple as that.
So is that it for you?
And that safety net, it's like kind of putting the bumpers up in bowling.
Mm-hmm.
It's that safety net of Will Levis getting memed because that's all but a certainty,
Yeah. Well, if he gets memed, then you're losing.
If he gets memed and I'm winning, then I lose the bet. Right.
But if you're losing, then you win. You're right.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that I'm gonna
Yeah.
Probably lose. And then just how they drew it up, I'm going to go $100 on no. I do not think a quarterback catches a pass this week. So
I mean, you're probably right.
I will not get the 8/3 payout,
Yeah.
but I do want to try.
I'm just glad his number wasn't 35. So we weren't out here with your 3/5 proclamation that we're trying to collect on.
A guy, a player with Drew Bennett's type, would normally get those odds.
I don't know. There's something about this wide receiver. It just looks like he'd be good at getting a loan.
He actually played wide receiver. That's
well, enjoy your bets, everybody. This is a fun week for the NFL games. It feels like we're in the groove now, and not every week is the beginning of the first of this.
Right. Now it's like we're starting,
and
we're realizing like what are the good teams, what are the bad teams.
Yeah.
Even though like the Panthers,
pretty crazy to have no Vikings bets and no Dalton bets. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Will the Red Rocket rock it was a bet that I considered, but then I just sort of laughed at that pun for a minute and went to the bathroom.
There were so many bets that I thought of going with and then ultimately decided not to because they were just too dumb. And that's the thing. It's like, you don't know how hard. Look, I would say the return of the Mac bet is my first weird bet.
The good news is if he doesn't play, you don't even have to look at the time.
Yeah,
it's
right.
sort of like a if this, then this, then this, but the first thing probably won't happen.
Yeah, it's the ultimate parlay, essentially.
Yeah.
And that is a word that Kyle and I learned just a couple of
weeks
weeks ago.
You get to talk to the captain of the boat.
The captain of the ship. That's right. You guys can follow Kyle on Instagram and Twitter at Kyle Ayers or on TikTok at Kyle Ayers Things. I highly encourage you to do so. Very, very, very funny comedian who you will very much enjoy, especially if you love movies and movie content. He also has a fantastic podcast there. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Austin Huff, but we do encourage you all to follow at Korked Bats on Twitter and Instagram. At Korked Bats, it's Korked spelled with a K. That's how you can keep tabs on everything that goes down with this podcast. So if you miss a week and you want to see how a guest scored or how he played out, you can see it all there at Korked Bats. Korked spelled with a K. Kyle, you got anything for the road before we get out of here?
I think everyone have a wonderful day watching the games. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, good luck on your bets. We love you.